Back in Nazi Germany, the Fritz X was not alone. Dozens of secret weapons were designed for the destructive fantasies of one man, Adolf Hitler. Hitler urged his engineers to construct a huge arsenal of unrivaled weapons that would bring final victory.
During World War II, Nazi Germany built some of the strangest vehicles ever imagined.
They had a lot going for it, apart from this unreliability of the engines. Even when they were in the air, they were very sensitive to throttle movement. Excessive movement either accelerated or decelerated.
When the war collapsed, many were abandoned in forests, tunnels, rivers and hidden bases. Giant tanks, too heavy to move, tiny remote-controlled bombs, flying machines that never flew, and vehicles that could swim or roll like a ball were left behind. Why were they built? Why were they abandoned? What secrets do they still hide? Join us as we explore the 20 strangest abandoned Nazi Germany vehicles ever found. Number 20. BMW R75. Motorcycle with sidecar. The BMW R75 was one of the toughest motorcycles used by Nazi Germany during World War II. It was built to survive harsh roads, deep mud, snow, and broken terrain. The motorcycle had a strong steel frame and a large flat twin engine that was air-cooled. What made it special was the powered sidecar wheel. Both the rear wheel and the sidecar wheel could drive together using a locking differential. This helped the vehicle move forward even when one wheel lost grip. The motorcycle looked heavy and muscular, with wide tires, a low seat, leather saddlebags, and a rugged metal sidecar. It was mainly used for reconnaissance, message delivery, escort duties, and moving small units quickly across the battlefield. Some versions carried mounted machine guns, making them dangerous despite their size. The engine allowed it to reach speeds of around 90 kilometers per hour on roads, slower off-road but very steady. Its advantage was reliability and control in bad conditions. Its weakness was weight and fuel demand. As German forces retreated, many broke down or ran out of fuel and were abandoned in forests and villages, where some were later found with gear still attached. But what happens when speed and fear dive straight down from the sky? Number 19. Junkers. Ju-87. Stuka dive bomber. The Junkers, Ju-87, known as the Stuka, was one of the most recognizable aircraft of the war. It had a bent gull wing shape, fixed landing gear, and a large nose-mounted engine. The plane was built mainly from aluminum with steel reinforcement around the cockpit. It was designed for precision dive bombing. The pilot would point the aircraft almost straight down toward a target, release the bomb, and then pull up at the last moment. This made the Stuka very accurate. The aircraft was used heavily in the early years of the war during fast ground attacks. It often carried large bombs under the fuselage and smaller ones under the wings. Some versions had sirens attached to the landing gear that produced a screaming sound during dives, meant to frighten enemy troops. The Stuka was slow compared to later fighters, with a top speed of around 390 kilometers per hour. Its strength was accuracy and stability. Its weakness was low speed and poor defense. Many were shot down once enemy air power increased. Some crashed into cold Norwegian fjords, where the water preserved their remains for decades. Number 18. V-2 Rocket Transport and Support Train. The V-2 Rocket Transport and Support Train was not a single weapon, but a mobile system for deploying Germany's most advanced missile. It consisted of flatbed cars, fuel tanks, workshops, and power units made of steel and reinforced wood. Rocket sections, engines, guidance systems, and liquid fuel were carried in pieces to avoid detection. Crews could move to remote rail lines, assemble and fuel rockets, then launch quickly. The train's speed and secrecy made locating launch sites difficult. It moved at normal rail speeds but worked efficiently when stopped. Its advantages were mobility and flexibility. while its weaknesses included reliance on intact tracks and fuel. Some trains were abandoned in tunnels during late 1944. One was later found in the Ardennes, revealing the system's hidden complexity. Number 17. Messerschmitt Me. 323. Gigant. The Messerschmitt Me 323, called the Gigant, was the largest land-based transport aircraft used in World War II. It looked enormous, with a wide wingspan, thick fuselage, and 6 large engines mounted on the wings. The aircraft was built mostly from metal, with reinforced internal frames to handle heavy loads. It was designed to carry tanks, artillery, vehicles, supplies, or more than 100 fully equipped soldiers. The Gigant was used to move large amounts of equipment quickly, especially to North Africa and the Eastern Front. It could lift around 12 tons, but flew slowly, reaching only about 280 kilometers per hour. Because of its size and speed, it was very vulnerable to enemy fighters. It had light defensive guns, but they were not enough. Entire groups were destroyed in the air by Allied attacks. Its advantage was unmatched cargo capacity. Its disadvantage was being an easy target. Many crashed into the sea or were abandoned on airfields after damage. Wreckage found near Sardinia confirmed how devastating these losses were. But what happens when size alone becomes a fatal weakness? Number 16. Karl-Gerät self-propelled siege mortar. The Karl-Gerät was one of the most extreme weapons ever built. It was a massive tracked vehicle carrying a huge siege mortar mounted on top. The vehicle was made of thick steel armor and heavy tracks similar to those of tanks but much larger. The mortar fired shells that were 600 millimeters wide, each weighing several tons. The vehicle looked like a moving fortress, low to the ground with a giant barrel pointing forward. Its purpose was to destroy heavily fortified targets such as bunkers, forts, and cities. It was used during major sieges and fired shells over short distances with devastating power. Reloading was slow and required special cranes and support vehicles. The Karl-Gerät moved very slowly, often less than 10 kilometers per hour. Its advantage was destructive strength. Its weakness was mobility and logistics. It consumed enormous fuel and required rail transport for long distances. As fuel ran out near the end of the war, several units were abandoned in Germany and Poland, left behind as silent giants of failed ambition. Number 15. Landkreuzer P1000 Ratte. The Landkreuzer P1000 Ratte was one of the boldest military ideas ever imagined. It was planned as a giant land battleship, far larger than any tank before or after it. The design showed a vehicle weighing 1,000 tons, built from extremely thick steel armor meant to withstand most ground fire. It was planned to carry massive naval guns from warships, supported by smaller cannons and anti-aircraft weapons. The Ratte would have looked like a rolling fortress, towering over roads and fields. Its goal was to break enemy defenses through size and firepower. However, it would have moved slowly, burned huge fuel amounts, and destroyed roads and bridges. Aircraft would have easily attacked it. Because of these limits, it never moved beyond drawings. Number 14. Borgward IV heavy demolition vehicle. The Borgward IV was a tracked demolition vehicle built to reduce direct risk to soldiers. It looked like a small tank with thin steel armor, a box-shaped body, and wide tracks for rough ground. A powerful explosive charge was carried at the front. The vehicle was guided by radio control from a distance, allowing it to approach enemy defenses, release its explosive, and then attempt to return. It was used against bunkers and fortified positions. The Borgward IV could move at moderate speed, but its armor offered little protection. Radio systems often failed in battle, causing many units to be lost or abandoned. Despite this, it showed an early step toward unmanned weapons. Number 13. Volkswagen Schwimmwagen. The Volkswagen Schwimmwagen was a light amphibious vehicle designed for land and water travel. It had a smooth, boat-shaped steel body sealed to keep water out. A rear-mounted engine powered all four wheels on land and a folding propeller in water. It was mainly used for scouting, transport and communication in wet areas. On land it could reach about 80 kilometers per hour, while in water it moved slowly but steadily. Its strength was flexibility and reliability. Its weakness was light protection. Many were abandoned in rivers and swamps, later found intact. Number 12. Dornier Do 35 Pfeil. The Dornier Do 35 Pfeil was one of the fastest piston-engine aircraft of the war. It had a very unusual design, with one engine in the nose pulling the aircraft forward and another engine in the rear pushing it from behind. This gave it a slim shape and excellent speed. The aircraft was built mostly from aluminum, with advanced features like tricycle landing gear and an ejection seat. It looked sleek and powerful compared to older fighter planes. Its role was to intercept enemy bombers and outrun enemy fighters. The Pfeil could reach speeds close to 500 kilometers per hour, faster than many aircraft of its time. Its advantage was speed and stability. Its disadvantage was complexity and late arrival in the war. Only a small number were completed, and many never flew in combat. One unfinished airframe was found abandoned in Bavaria, showing that production had begun but could not continue. So, if vehicles were made like this, how could a piston aircraft outrun early jets? Number 11. Goliath Tracked Mine. The Goliath Tracked Mine was a small remote-controlled vehicle designed purely for destruction. It looked like a low metal box on narrow tracks, built from thin steel plates. Inside, it carried a powerful explosive charge. The Goliath was controlled by a soldier using a long wire connected to a control box. The operator guided it toward enemy tanks, bridges, or bunkers, and then detonated it. The vehicle moved slowly, only a few kilometers per hour, which made it easy to spot. Its main advantage was precision, allowing explosives to be delivered exactly where needed. Its disadvantages were many. The thin armor could be destroyed by gunfire, and the control wire could be cut easily. Thousands were built, but many failed before reaching their targets. As German forces retreated, many Goliaths were abandoned or buried. After the war, unexploded units were found in fields across France and Eastern Europe, silent reminders of early remote warfare. Number 10. Steyr RSO Tracked Supply Tractor. The Steyr RSO was a compact tracked vehicle built for extreme terrain and brutal weather. It had a simple steel body, flat panels, wooden cargo bed, and wide tracks that spread weight evenly. The engine was small but tough, giving steady movement instead of speed. On roads, it moved slowly, but in deep mud and snow it kept going when trucks failed. The vehicle was used to carry food, fuel, ammunition, and wounded soldiers to frontline units. Drivers praised its grip and balance on icy ground. Its main advantage was reliability and ease of repair using basic tools. Its weakness was very low speed and little protection for the crew. As fuel shortages grew late in the war, many RSO tractors were parked and abandoned intact along supply routes and frozen roads. They often carried chains, spare parts, and canvas covers, showing careful design focused on survival rather than comfort alone today. Number 9. Triebflügel Vertical Interceptor Concept. The Triebflügel was one of the strangest aircraft designs ever planned. It looked like a small aircraft standing upright on its tail with 3 long wings spinning around the body. Each wing carried a jet engine at the tip, creating lift through rotation. The body was built from metal frames and panels, with a cockpit placed near the nose. The purpose was city defense when runways were destroyed. It would take off straight upward, turn forward, and land vertically. Engineers believed it could reach very high speed once leveled. The advantage was freedom from airfields and fast interception. The disadvantage was extreme control difficulty and pilot danger. Transitioning from vertical to forward flight was risky and untested. Although fully designed and tested in wind tunnels, it was never built. Blueprints survived the war, leaving the Triebflügel as an idea far ahead of its time, but too dangerous for real combat use. If you think this is shocking, then wait till you hear how a spinning wing was used to defend cities. Number 8. Tatra T87 Staff Car. The Tatra T87 was a sleek, fast staff car used by senior Nazi officers. It had a smooth, rounded body made from steel panels shaped for airflow. The rear held an air-cooled V8 engine that pushed the car to very high speeds. The car looked elegant but dangerous, with a narrow front and heavy rear weight. It was used for long-distance travel across occupied territory. On open roads, it could move faster than many military vehicles. Its advantages were speed, comfort, and strong engine performance. Its disadvantage was unstable handling, especially on unfamiliar roads. Many drivers lost control during sharp turns or high-speed travel. This led to serious crashes, especially on Eastern Front highways. As German forces collapsed, damaged and abandoned T-87 cars were left along roadsides and forests. Number 7. Focke-Achgelis FA330 Rotor Kite. The FA330 rotor kite was a lightweight flying device made for submarines. It looked like a simple metal frame with a seat, rotor blades above, and no engine. The structure used aluminum tubing, fabric straps, and a basic control system. It was designed to be towed behind a submarine while it moved on the surface. Airflow turned the rotor, lifting one observer high into the air. This gave submarines a wider view of the ocean. The advantage was early sight of enemy ships. The disadvantage was danger. The submarine had to stay surfaced, making it visible. The observer also had no protection. If the submarine dove suddenly, the kite had to be released quickly. Because of these risks, it was rarely used. But why would a submarine carry an aircraft? Number 6. Sd.Kfz 2. Kettenkrad. The Kettenkrad was a strange mix of motorcycle and small tank. It had a front wheel with handlebars and tracked wheels at the back. The body was made of steel plates with a low seat and engine behind the driver. It used a strong gasoline engine that allowed it to move faster than most tracked vehicles. It was used to tow aircraft, pull artillery, carry supplies, and lay cables. On roads, it moved quickly, while tracks gave grip off-road. Its advantage was flexibility and strength in a small size. Its disadvantage was limited protection and mechanical complexity. Steering required careful control at different speeds. As the war ended, many Kettenkrads were hidden or abandoned in barns, tunnels, and mountain depots. Some were later repaired and still run today, proving the durability of this unusual but very effective machine. Number 5. Schienenwolf Railway Demolition Vehicle. The Schienenwolf was a harsh railway demolition machine built to destroy tracks during German retreats. It looked like a heavy steel frame dragged behind a locomotive, ending in a massive claw-shaped plow. The body was made from thick steel beams designed to bite deep into wooden sleepers and stone ballast. As the train moved forward, the claw ripped rails upward, twisted them, and shattered the track bed. This slowed enemy supply trains and repair crews for weeks. The Schienenwolf had no engine of its own and depended entirely on locomotive speed. Its advantage was simplicity and terrible efficiency. Its disadvantage was total lack of protection and mobility without rail access. Crews used it only while withdrawing. One nearly complete Schienenwolf was later found sealed inside a Polish rail tunnel, rusted but intact. Can a retreating army erase the tracks behind it? Number 4. Heinkel He 162 Volksjäger. The Heinkel He 162 was a small jet fighter built in extreme desperation. It had a sharp nose, thin, straight wings, and a jet engine mounted above the fuselage. The airframe used metal, but also large amounts of wood due to shortages. This made it light and fast, but fragile. The aircraft was designed to climb quickly and attack enemy bombers. It could reach very high speeds for its size, but stability was difficult. Young pilots with little training were expected to fly it. The advantage was speed and simple construction. The disadvantages were weak materials, poor handling, and unreliable engines. Many airframes were rushed through factories and never completed. As Germany collapsed, unfinished He 162 jets were abandoned in forests, tunnels, and workshops. Some were hidden under trees or left on airfields without engines. Number 3. Blohm and Voss BV 141. The Blohm and Voss BV 141 was an aircraft that looked completely unbalanced. The cockpit sat in a glass gondola on one side, while the engine and tail boom sat on the other. It was built from metal frames with clear panels for observation. The strange layout gave excellent visibility for reconnaissance crews. Surprisingly, the aircraft flew smoothly and handled well. It was used for scouting, photography, and battlefield observation. Its speed was moderate, but stability was strong. The advantage was clear vision and steady flight. The disadvantage was unusual production and engine availability. Only a small number were built. Even though it worked, it lost competition to more traditional designs. After the war, captured examples were tested and then scrapped. None survived intact. But how can an unbalanced aircraft still fly perfectly? Keep watching to find out more. Number 2. Panzer VIII Maus. The Panzer VIII Maus was the heaviest fully enclosed tank ever built. It looked enormous, with thick armor plates, a massive turret, and wide steel tracks. The body was made from heavy, rolled steel, designed to resist enemy fire. It carried a powerful main gun and a secondary cannon. The tank moved very slowly and used huge amounts of fuel. Its purpose was to break through fortified positions without fear. The advantage was unmatched protection and firepower. The disadvantages were weight, poor mobility, and vulnerability to air attack. Bridges could not support it, and transport was difficult. Only 2 prototypes were completed. Near the end of the war, both were abandoned. Soviet forces recovered them and combined parts into one vehicle. That single Maus survives today. Number 1. Kugelpanzer spherical tank. The Kugelpanzer was a strange one-man armoured vehicle shaped like a metal ball. It had 2 large wheels forming the sides and a small tail wheel for balance. The body was made from curved steel plates with a narrow vision slit. Inside, space was very tight, with basic controls and a small engine. It moved slowly and offered limited visibility. No weapon was mounted. The vehicle was likely used for observation, patrol, or communication. Its advantage was small size and protection from small arms. Its disadvantages were low speed, poor vision, and no firepower. The Kugelpanzer was sent to Japan and later captured in Manchuria. No documents explain its true role. Only one example survives today. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.